Like Dad, I've always been a Ford man. The Falcon Squire wagon was unloved in 1964, but turns heads today. The Americans call them woodies, but the panelling, it's just fiberglass and plastic. But it's a passion that Shannons understands, which is why my Fords are insured with Shannons. And now, so's the home.
Call Shannons on 13 46 46. Shannons, insurance for motoring enthusiasts.
Gasolene is proudly brought to you by Shannons, insurance for motoring enthusiasts, and the following sponsors. I'm Michael Curzon, producer curator of Gasolene. Hope you enjoy.
We're here at the Monday Lookout, which is the filming location for Mad Max 2 for the opening chase of the movie. Just behind me here is right where the tanker was parked. You'll remember in the opening chase that Max came down here in the Interceptor and just braked and then backed up a little bit and then got out of the car and run back up to the truck, and the front of the truck was slightly into the road a little bit, but yeah, it was just about parked there. Yeah, just here is where Max hit the brakes at the opening chase, and if you remember, it looked like the back wheel was axle hopping. In actual fact, what they did for that scene was they offset the wheel, so it gave it a wobble effect, and Max Aspin, the stunt coordinator, just hit the brakes hard to give it the effect that the actual axle was hopping on the road, but as I say, in actual fact, it was just the wheel that was offset. Now, you may remember the Doom Buggy at the start of the film that jumps in front of the Landau and gets smashed. Well, to set that scene up, 2 ramps were built just over there, just in front of the bush, just there. Quite high ramps. The Doom Buggy had to come up with some speed, jump up the ramps and land right in front of the Landau. Now, the camera was in the Landau. That wasn't actually the scene where they smashed the car, they did that afterwards. But to get the shot, they had to have the camera in the Landau, and it was just set up there. It was quite a good stunt to do, and looked really effective on screen. Now, right at the top of the hill there, on the brow of the hill, is where, well, that's where Wes was, with the passenger on the back, the Golden Youth, and that's where Wes, the scene where Wes pulls the arrow out of his arm, and also when he turns round and pulls the mono over the hill. In actual fact, the mono was performed by a Broken Hill local called Glenn Parsons, and it was actually his girlfriend Heather that was on the back at the time. They did it 9 times, roughly 9 times, and it was actually the shortest one that they used in the film, because the previous wheelies and monos that they'd done were quite long, but they just took the shortest one. But it was about nine times they did it, and they did them all perfect as well. Right about here is just about where you see Max in the opening scenes mopping up the fuel after the buggy's been destroyed and it gets smashed into the truck. You see Max come up with the rag and he's mopping up the petrol and he's squeezing it into the hubcap. Just up there a little way is where the ramp was set up so that Max Aspin, the stunt coordinator, could roll the Landau. So it came down from the top of the hill, hit the ramp, went up onto 2 wheels, flipped, rolled several times and ended up right here where we stood. You may have noticed back in the museum the windscreen trim, top windscreen trim from the Ford Landau. When they actually shot that scene, shot that stunt, some of the pieces just got thrown out of the way, and that particular trim got actually thrown down here. And over the 30 years since then, the rain and the weather, it got washed, actually washed the trim all the way down, a little creek there. And I was lucky enough, probably nearly a couple of years ago now, or maybe a year and a half ago, I was lucky enough, I was down there and I found this particular trim, which was really, really lucky. So yes, I mean, over 30 years, the trim's worked its way from here all the way down there, and I was lucky enough to find it. Right here is where the head-on humongous stunt was performed with the tanker and the humongous truck at the climax of the film. The truck itself, the real truck itself, was actually, the humongous truck was actually cut into pieces, unbolted, and it was set up in the road just here, all in bits, so when the tanker came over the hill and it hit the truck, it exploded into pieces for dramatic effect. I mean, that wouldn't happen obviously in real life, but that's what they did, and they were actually, it was the night before that they actually set this up, and they were praying that there wasn't any wind, otherwise the wind would have just blown it over. But yeah, it was just all piled up and set up in the road to give it the effect that it was still in one piece, but in actual fact it had been cut up. Something else of interest, the sign that you see at the top of the hill there, you probably noticed when you watch the film that you can't see the sign. What they actually did was cut the sign off, lay it down, and when they'd done the scenes, they actually put poles into the ground and put the sign back on. And you can still see there now where they actually cut the poles off. It's exactly the same sign that was there when they made the film. Remember the tanker rollover at the climax of the film? Well, the tanker actually ended up right here, just where we stood now. Came down the hill, gathering speed. Dennis Williams, who was driving the truck, was actually doing 100 k's at the time, and it just came off, just off the bend there, just off the embankment, just near the guidepost. Pretty much dug into the ground here and just run along and just ended up here. It's time I woke up to myself.
Don't forget to check out the all-new Shannons Club. Once you sign up, you can create your own profile, including things like your previous cars, your current cars, the history of those cars, modifications and photographs. You can also search for other members' vehicles, keep up to date with things like news and current events, videos, check out your local car clubs and jump on the forum to talk to other like-minded enthusiasts about your passion. Modern Plating, for all your plating needs. With over 50 years experience in delivering quality to the automotive restoration industry, whether it be bumpers, die-cast pieces, polishing and repairs to aluminium or stainless steel mouldings, even ceramic coatings, Modern Plating has it covered. modernplating.com.au, located 4 to 6 King Street, Oakley, Victoria. Remember, Modern Plating, when quality matters.
This is an identical truck to the one that was used in the film. It's the Mack R600, commonly known as a plastic Mack because of the fiberglass body. The original truck came from the Kenworth dealership in Sydney, and it was originally used for bringing equipment out here. And the guy who actually was driving it and bringing the equipment out was actually Dennis Williams, who ended up driving the truck in the film. And the reason that Dennis ended up driving the truck in the film was because he found out that, that Mel Gibson actually couldn't drive a truck. The R600 that they bought was actually a quad box with 20 odd gears, and it was just going to be too difficult to teach Mel how to drive. So Dennis Williams ended up staying on and doing all the driving scenes. Now there was one scene in particular where you actually see Mel driving the truck, but in the shot as well that you actually see in the movie, you can see Dennis Williams is crouching down and he was telling Mel what to do, and he was changing gears for Mel. And that's really the only time that you see Mel physically driving the truck. Most other times it was all simulated motion where they're rocking the truck to get close-ups of Mel Gibson. So yeah, so that's really the story behind the R600. hope you've enjoyed the tour of the Mad Max Museum and some of the locations, and I'd also like to thank everybody that's helped and contributed towards the museum and everybody that's been to visit us. And over the next few months we'll be adding more to the museum, and hopefully you'll be able to come up and visit us.
On behalf of the Gasolene team, we'd like to give a very big thank you to Adrian Bennett for taking us on a tour of his Mad Max Museum, as well as sharing his knowledge and passion. If you're a Mad Max fan, then this is a must-see. Now stay tuned, viewers, and see what the Gasolene crew stumbled across on our road trip to Silverton.
Hello, my name is Billy Fitzpatrick, and here we are today with my father's 1961 Cadillac convertible. We've just, as you've seen, just pulled it out of the shed. First time we had it going for probably 6 months. She's had a pretty checkered career. She's been through 2 floods, and the last flood was 2 years ago here in Charlton, Victoria. The flood went up to about the silver line on the car here. And yeah, it was taking a lot of drying out, all the electric motors on the seats and everything sort of, yeah, gummed up, along with the brakes and the motor. So she's not running too good today, but we've had it, at least we got it going. Yeah, Dad brought it back in, I think about 60, he'll correct me on this, but 66, 65, and we had it for his family car virtually. I was brought home from hospital Charlton Hospital when I was a baby in it. It is a full convertible. The roof goes right back. Yeah, we had a flood come through, and we didn't get time to move any of our vehicles, and this one especially, it was stuck in the shed and went right up to the chrome here. It virtually took a lot of drying out. It left that much mud. The wheels, we've had all the wheels, all the brakes done. We've had gearbox had to be drained. The oil went out of it when the water came and replaced it with just pure water. The motor was the same. We had to get it going, tune her up. We've had, the exhaust system was full of water. When we first started it after the flood, it blew out about 100 metres of water, I reckon. Seemed like it. One little story we didn't tell Dad, me and brother Paul, we got it out when I was 18, when Dad was away carting sheep, because he's a truckie. And yeah, we had her pretty well flying, as fast as she could go. And we were up and down past the depot here, and we just got back to the yard and into the driveway, and she conked out, and that was it. We had to tow it back to the yard, push it back in the shed and left it. So I hope Dad doesn't go mad. we are with a few more Dad's collection of cars. We've got an old Plymouth, an old tractor of course, and there's a Chevy car, a Dodge, and a couple of T models at the end there, I think. Well, we thought we were doing the right thing here, putting them under the cover, but a flood a couple of years ago come through and just went whoosh. It went through about 4 foot high. You can tell by the grass washed up there on the old tractor and the truck. Yeah, I can't tell you much about the history of most of them. On this one, the Plymouth was my uncle's, Uncle Hal's. I think originally it was my grandfather, he sold it to him. And then going down the line, I think Dad's just collected them up from wherever. Yeah, down in the background there you can see a Monaro bonnet. That came off a boot lid actually. It came off a complete car that we found up at the Witchy Proof tip back in the day when they were worth nothing. And that's the only bit we got off it. We should have got the whole car, but anyway, we'll learn.
Ladies and gentlemen, the coolest show in all of drag racing is heading to Sydney Dragway for the Aero Outlaw Nitro Funny Car Extravaganza, Saturday, November 23, featuring US superstar Ron Capps and more. Sydney Dragway, where excitement lives.
Hi guys, Mark here from Rocket. We're going to talk about Snow Performance water methanol injection kits. Snow Performance kits basically cover every spectrum you want, from naturally aspirated carburetors to turbocharged, supercharged, twin carburetor supercharger kits. Pretty basic concept. Tank, 100% water, 50% water methanol depending on your combination, a pump, carburetor plate or nozzle depending on the application, controller, solenoid, all lines and hoses. The main benefits for this sort of water meth kit are increased performance, adding extra timing, raising the octane of your fuel, better performance all around. Cooling the intake charge on a supercharged or turbocharged combination is also a better deal. Basically, any power adder combination on the street running on premium or any sort of pump gas can benefit from Snow Performance water meth injection kit. Great thing for the do-it-yourself guys at home is the Painless wiring kits. Now, I'm a Sparky, auto-electrical background. This sort of kit is really good for someone that doesn't have a great idea about electrical. Every one of these cables in this kit is got the circuit written on it. So if I pull one out here somewhere, I think we've got reverse lights or backup lights. So every single one of these wires, the circuit's written on there. So you've got a basic easy mount fuse box relay. The kits come depending on the application. All terminals and connectors for a HQ or a Camaro or a Falcon, Mustang, all those combinations. Terminals, your heavy red wire for your alternator and main power circuits. And as I said, every other circuit in this whole roll has got the name of the circuit on it, so you can lay it out on the floor, work out exactly what circuit's got to go. Another good product from Painless Wiring is this power braid stuff. So it's much better than the old school convoluted tubing. It's wound, tight, doesn't chafe, and does a really good job to hold the harness all together.
To download your free copy of the Rocket and Aeroflow Performance Parts catalogue, go to the sponsor section on the Gasolene website. Click on the links and download away. With over 650 combined pages of performance parts and accessories, you're sure to find everything you need for your car.
But I know it's kind of funny, baby, and I know you're out there somewhere. I can't believe it's been a whole year.
Here we are in another shed. It used to be the old Ford dealership in Charlton. We've just bought it for a storage shed. we keep some of our cars and trucks in here. Unfortunately, the flood went through here as well, and as you can see, my Monaro's in the state of getting the brakes done and a few other little odds and ends, trying to get it back on the road. Monaro, originally, Dad bought this Monaro brand new from in here in Charlton at the Holden dealership, RJ Lowe, and we had it for our family car for about 15 years. Then it got rested idle for a couple of years before I turned 18, and I resurrected it. And yeah, used to hoon around in it for quite a long time. So she's still registered since I've had it. And yeah, I might put it back on club reg, I think. Might be cheaper, but yeah, just try and get it going. So it's a 186 Holden motor, GTS. Yeah, the flood that come through Charlton back in, was it 2009? Yeah, it come through here pretty deep. I actually had the car stored in here and had the right-hand front tyre was flat. So when the flood come through, it actually went over the bonnet, up over the bonnet, right through here, up onto the dashboard. So she made a real mess. And yeah, so I'm just trying to get it sorted out and back on the road, but needs a lot of work. But she's a family heirloom, so I'd never sell it. Yeah, and hopefully I'll pass it on one day to one of my boys. Back when Dad bought this brand new, and we had it for 4 or 5 years, and we run trucks. He had a truck that was in kilometres. This old girl's in miles per hour. And one night we went up to the Birchip Drive-In, which is about 40 minutes from here, and Dad forgot. And we sat on 100 mile an hour in this, and he thought it was 100 kilometres an hour. We were bagging everybody up. And when we got there, pulled in to buy our ticket, the old Monaro, there was steam coming out from under the bonnet. And he had me running around with about 5 or 6 with an old cordial bottle looking for water. And I remember that right now, back to this day. So yeah, fond memories. Look, the long-term plans for the old Monaro, I'm not going to do the body, because you can spend thousands and thousands on a body and get it all pristine, and at the end of the day, I'm too scared to drive it anywhere. So I'm just going to leave it as is, get it good going mechanically and running gear, brakes, all the works, and hopefully me and my 2 boys want to do the Monaro Highway up to Canberra and yeah, do a big round trip, and it'll be great.
Since I've seen your face, like yours, my heart is in the same place, and I'll always feel this way.
It's all I seem to do when you're here is blame, and everything you've ever said to me abstain.
We're the Gasolene Twins. Hope you're enjoying the show.
And here's a date to mark in your calendar, viewers, Saturday the 23rd of November. And if you're not in Sydney, I suggest you try and get there. Our good friends at Aeroflow are bringing us the Outlaw Nitro Funny Cars, with over 10 cars there on the day and drivers from New Zealand and America, including the famous Ron Capps and his funny car, the Allo Hooker. It's going to be a great event, and there's something there for everybody. Face painting for the kids and fireworks for the whole family. So hope to see you there, Saturday the 23rd of November at Sydney Dragway.
week on Gasolene.
Gasolene is proudly brought to you by Shannons, insurance for motoring enthusiasts, and the following sponsors. I'm Michael Curzon, producer-creator of Gasolene. Hope you enjoy.